Good morning, students. How are you? I hope you all are fine and staying home to keep yourself safe from COVID 19. Students, here in this module, we are going to start chapter 9 of your textbook, Company Rule in India. So, let us begin, students. Introduction part of this chapter. The Vasco da Gama landed at Calicut in 1498 and marked the beginning of European era in Indian history. By the 16th century, the Portuguese had established their colony in Goa. As for the first time Vasco da Gama reached to India by sea routes, and then afterward the Portuguese could establish their colony in Goa. In the next century, India became a popular destination for a large number of European traders, adventurers, and missionaries from England, Spain, France, Holland, etc. The ease of imperialism that is related to the Samrajyavad in India began with the weakening and eventually the disintegration of the Mughal Empire as the Mughal Empire started to weaken. Then afterward, this disintegration of our country started and different. The lack of a strong central authority led to the emergence of many independent states that revolted against the weak successors of Aurangzeb. They were the state of Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad, and Mysore. These were the main states which declared themselves as independent states. The Sikh, the Marathas, the Jats, and the Rajputs also set up their own kingdom. Hence, the stage was set for Europeans to take advantage of this situation, as these different states shown that they are not united now and they showed themselves independent, and this was the golden opportunity for Europeans to take the advantage of the situation to enter in India by defeating these different rulers in different states. The trading companies. Many European trading companies established their trading centers in coastal areas of India. The trading centers were called factories, the place where factors or officials worked. Some of the factories were fortified as safeguard from the rival trading companies. Some of the factories were fortified, established as a safeguard from the rival trading companies as the number of trading companies were coming to our country. They bought spices, cotton textiles, indigo, and saltpeter as a raw material for making gunpowder at cheap rates from India and sold them in Europe and America at high prices. The huge profit margin led to a competition between or among the foreign trading companies. Eventually, the other trading companies had to bow out to the English and the French companies who remained the main rivals in India. Actually, these English and French companies were the main rival in India and they continued for longer. The East India Company. The history of the world has not witnessed a more amazing story than that of establishment of the British Empire in India. It was not the result of deliberate effort but a series of episodes that finally led to political dominance of India by the East India Company. The East India Company set up trading posts in Surat and the three presidency settlements at Fort William in Bengal, Fort St. George in Madras, and Bombay Castle. They established friendly relations with the local princes to further their profit, to improve their profit, to increase their profit. The Indian rulers signed alliances, agreements to secure the help of English military to settle their internal rivalries. This was the biggest mistake that Indian rulers made alliances with the English military to settle their internal rivalry, internal fights. Taking advantage of this situation, the British introduced the policy of divide and rule. As the Britishers saw that these rulers are not united and we can take advantage of this situation, and they followed the policy of divide and rule from here. As a result, the Indian princes became mere puppet in the hands of the English. Afterward, when the Britishers started to support the different rulers by their army, and then afterward the rulers became the puppets of in the hand of English people, as they were highly dependent on them for their army. How could a trading company become an imperial power? The real answer is that East India Company became an imperial power. Imperial power is that Samrajyavad, or that ruling power, to protect its trading interests from other European traders. As number of traders were there in our country at that time, so they were in this desire that if we get the ruling power in our hand, then these outsiders can be thrown out very easily. It began as a trading company, took over political control and became the ruler of entire India. The aim of the company was to gain monopoly of the entire trade in the East. In the East means the East Asia. Not only over India, they were having control. Number of countries in the East Asia they were having. The company came into conflict with other foreign traders and hence built up its own military and administrative departments. It became such a strong force that it took over the governance of Bengal, Madras, now Chennai, and Bombay, now Mumbai. Gradually, the trading companies transformed into an auxiliary government and military power that ended only in 1858. As gradually this East India Company took over the control of entire country and started to exploit India in the favor of the Britain, and the people of our country slowly started to revolt against the British, and in 1857 for the first time the whole country almost started revolt against the Britishers, and this was the first time, as it was referred as, struggle for freedom. And after this 1857, the British government took the control of East India Company rule in her hand. Carnatic War. The Carnatic War were series of battles fought between English and the French for the control of trading ports of India during the year 1746 to 1763, almost 7 years. These wars were driven by opportunism on all sides, and though the native princes did not want to surrender their territory to an outside power, they often cooperated willingly with Europeans to strengthen their own position. The Indian princes were not in this desire that they will hand over the control to the European hands, but they were in this desire that by the help of the European people they can strengthen their power, they can increase their territory. So because of this desire, such wars took place. The First Carnatic War, 1746 to 48. The Carnatic War was the result of Austrian Successor War that took place in 1740 between Austria and Prussia. England and France entered opposite sides in this war. Commodore Barnett, the British naval officer, arrived into India with his troops. But the French proposed peace with British, as the Britishers wanted to have control and have struggle with this French, but the French people made an agreement or proposed peace with British. The Nawab of Carnatic, Anwaruddin, also ordered that there should not be any war. So, Commodore Barnett returned to England, but Dupleix did not keep his promise and attacks Madras and occupied it. As one side, the Britishers pulled their leg behind, but the Dupleix did not keep the agreement, peace agreement with the British, his promise, and attacked over Madras and occupied it. British complained to Nawab. Then the Nawab declared war against French. The battle took place in 1746. In this battle, Anwaruddin was defeated by the French. The Austrian Successor War came to an end in 1748 when the power of France weakened in India. France was forced to sign a treaty and hand over Madras back to England. The Second Carnatic War. There was a war of succession between Chanda Sahib, son-in-law of Dost Ali Khan, and Anwaruddin for the Carnatic Nawabship after the death of Nizam ul Mulk, the Deccan Subedar, in 1748. A war broke out between Muzaffar Jung and Nasir Jung. The French signed a treaty with Muzaffar Jung and Chanda Sahib to help them with well-trained French forces. They defeated Nasir Jung and Anwaruddin, the Nawab of Carnatic, and gained monopoly of trade over South India. Anwaruddin died in the battle and his son Muhammad Ali ran away. On the other hand, the English plotted with Nasir Jung and defeated the French army. So this way, the Second Carnatic War came to an end. The Third Carnatic War held between 1756 to 63. The Third Carnatic War began in 1756 between French and English. When the French besieged Madras, Robert Clive sent Colonel Ford to occupy northern Sirkar. Ford occupied northern Sirkar and brought Salabat Jung under his control. Salabat Jung gave northern Sirkar to the British. A battle took place in 1760 at Vandivas between the English and the French. The French were defeated. Pondicherry, now Puducherry known as, was occupied by the British. When the Seven-Year War ended in Europe in 1763, the Treaty of Paris was signed. As per this treaty, Pondicherry was given back to French. Robert Clive succeeded in making a name for himself among the native princes. He won many more battles for the English and foiled Dupleix, the French general, at every turn. Foiled means defeated. As a result of constant defeat, Dupleix was called back to France in disgrace. Eventually, French East India Company was dissolved in 1770. Means both the companies dissolved as East India Company. The French ambitions of establishing an empire in India ended and British supremacy was firmly established after the Third Carnatic War. And from here, the British rule starts. So this was all about for today's topic, students. We'll meet in the next module. Till then, bye bye.